Next week the gardens of Caerhays Castle are open to the public again for the 2025 spring season, and already there are magnolias coming out for you to see. I'm standing in front of a brand new magnolia that has never flowered here before, and it's a form of Magnolia sprengeri diva called Fire. Now, Magnolia sprengeri diva was one of the Asiatic species discovered by Ernest Wilson, and it came to Caerhays as a young plant in 1913. On the 19th of April 1919, Magnolia sprengeri diva flowered, and that Magnolia sprengeri diva is one of the great plants in Caerhays garden. Between 2008 and 2010, a Sino-Swedish expedition spent 2 years in China looking for Magnolia sprengeri and trying to see how varied and diverse the species was. And what they found was that there were many different forms of Magnolia sprengeri diva, and a lot more forms than we knew about in Western Europe or indeed in the UK. And this form of sprengeri diva Fire, is reported to have come out of a Chinese nursery, but the origin is uncertain. What is certain is that it's a much smaller and more delicate flower than Magnolia sprengeri divas that we've seen before. We see why it gets the name Fire because of this wonderful veining in the outside of the tepals, which is more pronounced in the bud, as you see here, than it is perhaps in the flower itself. But here we are on the 10th of February. This is a very early in the year for a magnolia to be flowering, and even earlier for a magnolia we've never seen flower before at Caerhays. It's quite clear that Magnolia sprengeri diva has lots of different forms, and indeed we have 5 or 6 different forms in the garden, some of which are from those Sino-Swedish expeditions. But none of them will be out for about another month or so, and when they are, we'll have a look at them and do 1 or 2 little videos to show you how different they are from this plant. So Caerhays Castle Gardens open to the public again on the 10th of February, and there are discounts for the next 4 weekends for any local people who can come round the gardens at half price. And you may think that this stage of February there's not going to be a great deal to see, but actually you'd be quite wrong. The camellias are wonderfully out in flower, particularly the William's Eye camellias. And up behind me, with a little bit of a blue sky showing by it, is Magnolia campbellii Strybing White. And Strybing is an arboretum in California where this particular variety was bred. It's always out in flower very early. Often it gets frosted or blown away, but so far this year it's really looking quite nice. And that's one of several magnolias that are flowering already by the 10th of February, and we'll just go and pop and have a look at another one. So again, perhaps you won't see as much as we would like with a grey sky this morning, but we're standing underneath a 1920s Magnolia campbellii, which is actually out in flower, more or less full flower. It's quite a pale colour and not as dark a pink as the biggest Magnolia campbellii in the garden, which is only just starting out into flower. But even so, there are hundreds of flowers here, and spring is springing.